Hi, I'm Scott Willison, owner of the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. In the late spring, early summer, we are fortunate to see a pretty good damselfly emergence on a lot of our local lakes. I'm going to share with you today one of my favorite damsel patterns that came up with a while ago and like to fish for everything from trout to bluegill. In the spirit of fun names for flies, I call this one the Claude VanDamsel. So we're going to start with a size 12 Tiemco 200R hook. This is one of my favorite damsel hooks. And we'll go ahead and get that barb pinched down. Situate that in the hook, and then we're going to start by making our eyes here before we do anything else. So I've got a little strip of 25-pound monofilament, and take my trusty Seahawk slider and just burn one end of it there. And then for the eyes, we're going to use these little glass seed beads. These are a size small in red. These are the Wapsi Killer Caddis beads. I'm going to get a couple of those out. And then we will very carefully thread them on the monofilament. There we go. So I've got two beads on a piece of monofilament. Now, to get the appropriate amount of space, I found on a size 12 fly, or size 10 for that matter, these little forceps are about perfect. I'm going to pinch those just like so. We'll cut off a little bit of that extra mono. And then I'm just going to burn that right down to the eye. Perfect. We'll give those a second to cool and start our thread. Today I am going to be using a 70 Denier fluorescent Chartreuse thread. Damsels come in lots of different colors, everywhere from almost a brilliant chartreuse green to kind of a drab brown. So feel free to tie this one in whatever color you like. Alright, I'm going to start by mounting our eyes here. We tie these in just like we would a pair of dumbbell eyes or bead chain eyes. Just start some figure-8 wraps of thread, a little more than an eye width back from the eye of the hook. And then because that mono doesn't really compress much under the thread, I always like to pop a little dab of brush on zap in there, just to keep those eyes from wanting to twist. There we go. Go ahead and cover our shank with thread. We're going to go just a little bit down the bend of it there. And then I've got kind of a green olive. I often use medium olive or yellow olive, golden olive, Marabou. You can mix it up as you see fit, but we're going to go fairly sparse on the tail. And I'm just going to cut some fibers off. Just tame them with a little bit of saliva. And then I want this tail to be just under the length of the shank. back. We got to go. A lot of times if you take a wrap or two under the tail to kind of prop it up, it's going to help to prevent the fly from fouling. Trim our excess off. Now for the abdomen of this fly, we are going to use a light olive D-rib. This is a vinyl material. It really does a nice job capturing the translucency of a damsel nymph. Really important, you're going to have a flat side and a rounded side to this. If you want the rounded side showing on top, which you do in this case, you're going to want to make sure you tie it down with the flat side facing up. And then to keep this thing slender, I'm actually going to apply pressure, and I'm pulling back toward the bend of the hook on the D-rib as I tie it in. That'll compress it a little bit and allow me to keep a nice slender body. And then we're going to make sure when we start that first wrap, we got the flat side down against the shank of the hook. And then just doing nice back-to-back wraps with this thing, making sure I'm applying pressure to keep it slender. Tie that off. And then we're going to tie in our Wingcase material. Today I'll be using, this is a strip of olive thin skin. This is also a vinyl material. And the width of this is approximately half the width of the gap. This stuff has a cardboard backing on the back of it that you're going to want to peel off. Okay, and I am then going to tie this facing forward over the eyes, and then we'll bring our thread under the eyes, and we're going to wrap this all the way up to the eye of the hook. Next we're going to add some legs. I've got some olive Hungarian Partridge here. I've got a feather already stripped out. Do some legs on either side. These I'm just going to pinch into place on one side of the hook and then the other. Take a couple of wraps. I like to wait to trim them at the end, because if I got them too long, I can always pull on the butt ends of the fibers and shorten it up. But so far I'm on the right track here. And then we'll match those to the other side. Pinch, take a couple loose wraps, and then tighten up. And then we can get in there and trim that excess. Alright, now for the head, I'm going to finish it off with kind of a newer product. This is Senyo's Fusion Dub from Hairline. It's got all kinds of colors in it. It's got some silver and gold, predominantly olive. It's going to provide a little bit of flash and attractive quality to this fly. And it does not take much. I've got a very small pinch of dubbing there. I'm just going to twist that in a noodle around the thread, and then we'll figure eight wrap this around the eyes here. So I'll go around a couple of times one way behind the eyes, a couple of times the other way behind the eyes again. And we're going to pull our Wingcase material tightly over the top of all that. I'll take 2 or 3 wraps, and then you don't have a lot of exposed thread here to cover with head cement. Some head cements and vinyl material don't go real well together either. They'll actually eat away at the vinyl. So I'm just going to brush a little bit of Zap-A-Gap on the thread wraps. Try to keep that glue just on the thread. And then we will go ahead and whip finish here behind the eyes. Get that thread seated nicely. And then trimming the wing case, this can kind of be difficult, but what you want to do is actually try to fold this in half and pinch it in half together. And then you're going to get in there at a fairly tight angle and trim with the tips of those scissors, and that's going to give you a little V notch in the wing case to look just like the naturals. But there you have it, a fantastic trout damsel, panfish damsel, the Jean-Claude VanDamsel. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.